Hello everyone, my name is Uthris, and welcome to StarMade. So this is kind of, well, it's an alpha game, just like everything else I play, it seems. It has been out for, wow, quite a while. I think even before Space Engineers was released on Steam, this was out on their own site, and they were working on it. It's essentially closer to Minecraft in space than Space Engineers is, for sure. It actually has the blocky nature. It's a little bit of a, I guess you could say, childish graphics, but it's like this on purpose. And it's pretty good, I think. Essentially, what you do, just like Minecraft, you survive, you mine for resources, you build your ships, and you kind of conquer and claim worlds as you go. It is multiplayer. There are some pretty good multiplayer servers out there, but I'm going to start building a fleet and surviving for a quick YouTube series. Just something a little bit different, and I feel like I can build some cooler ships in this than probably Space Engineers, just because I think this blocky feel I'm a little bit better at. So I'll go ahead and show you how big the galaxy is, and you can open up your galaxy map by simply pressing P. And if you zoom out, every single point here is a solar system. And the purple lines, they are little wormholes. You can go from this point to here pretty instantly. Basically, this randomly generated galaxy and randomly generated wormholes are set up to where you can get around a little bit easier. There's also a jump drive that you can build onto your ships. But in each solar system, we can go in here in each sector. There are stations, as you can see, these undiscovered points of interest. There are shops, which are, let's scroll down here. There we go. So we're at a shop right now. And there's some planets. The planets actually orbit around the sun, and everything orbits around each other. And there's, day-night cycles. The planets, they're basically 10-sided dice. And I think that's about as much as I want to explain from the get-go. I'm going to go ahead and just build a quick little ship. We're going to have to gather some resources, build some factories, and start processing material so we can expand on what we're working on. So I'm going to name this thing just basically starter. And it's going to spawn this little block. Pressing R on it will basically you enter the ship, and you start out in build mode usually. Pressing space will change what mode you are in. And we're going to start out by making this a little bit of a salvage vessel. And to do so, we're going to have to put these power reactor modules. And the way the power supply works, I don't think I want to get too in-depth in explaining on how this works exactly. Essentially, the power, it tries to automatically fill in gaps. So doing this shape, okay, it's trying to treat from this point to this point in a square as if there's power modules, even though there isn't. And if I were to put power modules there, it would actually lower the efficiency of it. So you end up building these boxy, interconnecting cubes that aren't really touching each other, but are taking up the equivalent space of like it inside of itself over, and it's a little complicated to start out trying to explain. These, of course, are thrusters, which we need to move. And when you're flying to the left here, let me find a dark spot so you can see the UI a little better. To the left, this is how much armor and HP our ship has. And to the right, we have our energy bar and then our speed meter. So you can see when I speed up and slow down, that jumps. The controls are fairly similar, except for to rotate your ship like this, it's Z and X. And to go straight up and down, it's E and Q. So it's a little bit weird to get used to because the spacebar is kind of taken with entering build mode and whatnot. So, I mean, it is far more simple than Space Engineers, but then also some aspects of it are a little bit are possibly a little bit more complex. Let's open up the shop. This station we're at, this tall thing, is one of the shops, and it allows you to purchase certain blocks. And early on, you're going to be doing this because we don't have a factory of any kind. And I could just buy a factory, really. In fact, I'm going to buy a build block. This will come in handy when we land on a planet to set up our base. So let's see, where ship, we need support tools, and we need more salvage modules. And this is basically how I'm going to set up this ship as a basic salvage ship. So first off, when you're setting up modules, generally, if they're like systems, they'll have some type of main computer chip. And I just go ahead and place that down here. Okay, and now it's highlighted. You can highlight these things by pressing C, and as you can see, it gets this little orange box around it. That means anything that I've laid down for that module is connected to that computer. And what I'm going to do is come down here. I'm going to make a little, it's going to seem like an odd shape at first, but trust me, it is what works. Huh. Okay. Server didn't want to save for some reason, but I'll figure that out here soon. So everything that's touching this block is going to be counted towards the stats of the weapon or tool. And because of that, I actually want to leave a space if I want to have a separate little section like that. And we'll go over here and do the same thing. Now early on, my ships are probably going to be more utilitarian than pretty looking. And that is normal. I don't have the resources to sit there and get all the angled pieces that we might need or want. Actually, I'm going to put this, I think, in the gaps. Let's create kind of a wing shape. So something like this for our basic guns, and this is just to defend ourselves in case any pirates show up, because they will. And I'll just place 2 more here. They won't be as effective as the larger ones, but it just covers a little bit more area for us. I'm going to go ahead and just fill in a little bit of armor, not a whole lot, because I want to keep the ship light and mobile. And something like this will certainly do for now. You can see the lighting system is very similar, really, to what the current Space Engineers is. It's very dark in the dark areas, so you guys probably can't even see what's down here besides purple highlights. So we have our little ship. We have little blasters attached, and as you can see, they don't fire very quickly. The sound also tends to break on them, which is fine. When you have a lot of cannons firing, really, the noise of them are a little annoying. And then we have our salvage. Now salvage, every weapon has 2 fire modes, left click and right click. Left click will do, see that green dot in the middle, we'll try and pinpoint all of our weapons onto that point. And for salvaging, as you can see, we're basically drilling at a really fine point kind of quickly because we have so many lasers hitting it at once. But that's not quite efficient, because salvaging, you kind of want to do this. And what happens is you get this part of just pure gathering in an AoE effect. So you can see we're really kind of just chipping away this asteroid very quickly. I mean, you can still do this. This is fine, I guess, maybe early on. And bigger ships will have this more of a shotgun spread that can eat asteroids very quickly. And what we're looking for are just exposed ore on these asteroids initially. And I'm basically just doing a quick once-over on this area and then moving to the next asteroid. And then we're going to refine those materials down that we get from these asteroids into our first factory block, and then start going from there. As far as I know, it's been a year probably since I have played this game, and it is only $10 on Steam. It's fairly cheap. At least it was when I got it. It could have changed a little bit since then. So we'll just kind of keep poking away at this thing. Let's look around for another asteroid. That ice one really isn't doing much for us. How about this? This nice blue little asteroid. Yeah, there's some purple ore on here. Don't know quite the names of all the materials yet, so you'll have to forgive me for not quite. I'm not looking for anything specific just yet. So we'll just keep digging here. Now there's, of course, these shards that we are picking up. And these items, sorry, they went to my hotbar. I got a little confused on where they went. So there's ore, which are these kind of larger blocks, I think those, and then these shards, both of them get refined into different things, and then I think this Larimar gets turned into something else as well. I think I'm having issues with saving my game. I'm gonna have to test that at the end. If it becomes an issue, basically what's gonna happen is off camera I'll basically catch up to where we are right now between episodes, so we can just keep gathering. Well, that's a little redundant if I sit here and keep building. So one second, I'm gonna catch up to where we are now if we basically require it. So okay everyone, I think I fixed my problem. I don't know why I was doing that, but I basically had to start over a little bit. I have been mining for a few, and this is kind of the new ship I started out with. It's a little bit better than the old one that I just happened to lose. So as you can see, we have four salvage beams, and it chews through these things fairly quickly for its size and class. It's a fairly bright light. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you just a little bit more things here. In your inventory, you have these 3 buttons at the top for refining, crafting your starting objects. And so what you're going to have to do is you're going to refine raw materials, and then I believe generic. No, just raw first. You don't need to worry about generic just yet. That's taking specific items that we don't have any way to get just yet. So we're going to refine raw materials, which is what we have. We have Sepsin ore, and as you can see, when that bar finishes, it creates 10 of these alloyed metal mesh. And this is why you need factories, because factories, one, do this quicker. They do a lot of processes at the same time, and all in all, it's just better than doing this in the inventory of your character. But this is how everyone starts out. Unless you, I guess you could technically purchase one of the factories right off, but I'm trying to save my beginning money, because if we lose the ship, I need to buy another ship core. So that is why we're doing it with this route. So I'm waiting essentially for those things to finish processing, and that processes whether I am in the menu or not. That ticker is going to keep going all the way, and it looks like we get about 10 per 1 ore. I think about 100 will be enough for now once we get there. And then I'm going to process the next item, which uses those shards instead of the ore pieces, and the shards again are these smaller little chunks that we can mine. And what we get with that is a new material to process down. I forget the name of what it would be processing actually, but I suppose we're about to find out. So we can take those out. Oh. and put in these shards, and these shards give us crystal composite. And crystal composites are necessary to make the beginning factory as well. You need both types of materials. Pretty cheap. I think it's only 10 each, but there's some additional things that I'm going to have to be making as well to get started. I believe I'm harvesting stone. Is that what that is in there? What are you? You are ice. So this asteroid has some ice in it. And again, asteroids are randomly generated. The whole world is randomly generated. Our universe does look a little bit different than last time. I think it's always a spiral, but our actual system setup here is random. You can go all the way to the star if you want, but it's not something I really suggest doing. So these random stations, usually they're pirate stations, but sometimes they're neutral. There's not really much going on them. You can probably more or less just salvage them for resources. But I think what we're going to do is look for a planet to land on. So what we have here are these different colors. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think they correlate to what type of planet they are. So yellow being desert, green being pretty standard hills and mountains with grass. Red, I think, is a lava planet. Blue, I'm pretty sure, is an ice planet. And this purple one, I think, is just alien, in a sense. But what I want is probably a green one, because they look, in my opinion, the best. And when you click on that, it centers your view, and you can just pilot path to current, and it's just going to give you a waypoint to get there. So we'll have to look for it. There we go. So we're 20 kilometers out. This is a little bit of a jaunt to fly all the way there, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip that part and show you the planet once we're arriving. Alright everyone, it took a little while, but we're finally coming in view of our planet that we're going to be calling home. Hopefully that the green marker does signal that it was a nice lush planet. If not, oh well. But it's just something we're going to be finding out as we get closer. There are some asteroids floating around it as well, which will be pretty nice to harvest for resources. You can see the 10-sided nature of the planets in this game, and they are randomly generated. Ignore the lava. As it tries to load in the chunks, just like Minecraft, you're going to get a bit of a visual thing. But we'll go ahead and drop down here. And there's gravity on these planets. If you don't have a ship, or if you have too big of a ship, the gravity is going to hold it there. So large, like capital ships, they're not going to be landing on here. You're going to have to make a shuttle. But our ship is luckily probably shuttle sized, and we can go ahead and check this place out. As you can see, each little side is basically a flat plate that you can be aligned to, and then it just kind of rolls over, and then it realigns itself. So if I were on foot and jumping this, I can actually show you that now. You can see basically how it handles it. So we're aligned right now to this plane, and then if I were to go over here, just make a little bit of jump, what happens is the camera's going to kick and align me to this side. So it's a little jarring, but I think it's an okay solution for a problem of trying to build a round planet using square blocks. Now, originally, when I was playing, these were discs. They didn't have a surface on all sides. They only had a top side, and the bottom side was just rock. They're basically asteroids in that sense. But this is actually, luckily, a very wonderful planet. I'm really liking the terrain on it. There's some cool mountains on it. Trying to generate the rest of the terrain. It's going to lag a little bit by me doing this. Ooh, good. We're actually on the day side. And since these do rotate around, you're going to get day-night cycles. If I were to sit on this planet the whole way and let it rotate a full year, it would have basically half light, half night. It doesn't actually rotate on its axis, as far as I know. I could be wrong about that. But it is definitely a pretty little planet. I kind of like the spot we were at when we first arrived. I think that's a good location to start. Is it this? I think this is it. It might be another side though. I think this was more it. But now that I saw that last one, I think I like it a little bit more. And it sadly is dark, so I'm going to do some of this, at least these beginning steps, in the daylight here so you guys can see what's going on. So we'll go ahead and just crash down here. There we go. Perfect. 10 out of 10. Alright, by me. And when you get out, your ship will just settle with gravity. You can make docking ports, and they'll actually dock to them if you want. But for now, I'm fine with just letting it sit there. So we have been refining our materials. And as you can see, I have refined a lot. This is just in the flight over here. And then we're going to craft a basic factory. Now, all of these crafting streams, you get this little button that says view basically recipes that it can do. And so we're going to take 10 alloyed metal mesh and use it to make a basic factory, or you can use 10 of these. And since I have more crystal composite at the moment, I'm thinking about using that for our first factory. Just like so. Alright. And if I left the materials in there, it would just keep making it. And so you have to make sure to get your materials back out. So let's just drop this down. As you can see, it just popped up with a message. You might not have been able to read it in time. It says inefficient energy. And I did not buy a build block, of course. So every time it ticks through this bar, it's going to give me that message because there's no energy or power supply for this planet or near this block, so it's just going to tick off like that. Now what I'm going to do to kind of fix that, I believe if I use this and click on it, as you can see, you might be able to see that green floating up there, but that's giving this power to operate. And as it ticks through, it can use that energy to make an item. So let's change what we're going to be producing here. And there's a filter or a drop down that you can go through. So let's see if this one, yes, we need to make power reactor modules. Okay, and to make that, what we need is, for one of them, we need 20 metal mesh. So our 100, of course, is only going to make us 5. So let's just give this thing some power and sit for a little while as it goes through. Two, three, four. I think we probably have already made about 2 of them. But I can go in and check now. Oh, looks like we have 3, which is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and, just like in a ship, you know, you want to try and do these L shapes, and that should create just enough passive power to expand this module just a little bit more again. By the way, if you right click while out of your ship, you will automatically disassemble an item. There we go. So it's ugly because it's not fully built, and I mean, you can make a big reactor room and make it look all nice with slope blocks and everything, but starting off, this is what we're stuck with, and it's turning nighttime. Ooh, I think we do rotate. Everything is moving. Huh. Okay, so I guess there are day-night cycles, and a yearly cycle as well. And so, now that we built that, the next step is to change what we're producing. we're going to look for is it the capsule refinery? Or what? As you can see, there's a lot of basic blocks here, and these are as basic as you can get, essentially. There are far more blocks to show and go through what they do and try and figure out what they do, because I certainly don't know. So I'm pretty sure we want this capsule refinery. Let's view the recipe. 10 crystal composites and then 10 alloyed metal mesh. And so the best thing to do is to start working on this here. And this should give us 10 metal mesh that we need. Then we can open this block up. And this should create our refinery. Yep. Take this block out. Now this refinery, as you can see, it's going to be trying to take energy as well. We need to start storing energy rather than just trying to generate it quick enough. As you can see, this one's constantly failing, but this one's working. If I had a build block, I could tell you why exactly, but essentially these power generators, they just generate power. They don't increase your max power supply. They only increase regeneration rate. So if you want to increase your max storage, let's just search for power here. You need a power capacitor, and it is just some crystalline compound, which I can go ahead and make a few of that. There are additions to add on to factories to make them process things even quicker or in multiples. So again, starting out, it's going to be a little slow, but you know me, I like rewarding slow process of a game. So now, basically, these are fuel tanks, and they store energy. And let's see. So if I click R on this thing, it looks like our total load for power is 3,669, and we generate about 614 a second. And it takes a couple seconds for these to go through. So right now our power is completely stable. The error message isn't going through. Our capsule refinery, if we just drop these items into it, it'll start refining it down automatically for us. And anything that can be refined down will just automatically, all at once, just over and over, basically indefinitely, until it's been all refined down into these capsules or composites corresponding to each block. And so we can leave this run for a while, and I think that's what I'm going to do for this episode. So this is basically the very basics of this game. There's a rail system. There's a lot to go through, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you feel like subscribing to my channel for more content, more creative kind of games, that's what I'm known for. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.